Welcome to Mr. Giant Reacts and Ting and Ting and Ting. I'm Mr. Giant, and today we're going to watch 25 funny differences between Canadians and Americans. You know what I mean? This is going to be interesting. So I'm going to pop right into this and see what the differences are. For me, living in America this long, and knowing a little bit more about Canada than I used to. Let's see if the differences that they bring up are I wouldn't say legit, but correspond with what I think. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and watch this vibe here.
Canada and the US have somewhat of a love-hate relationship. It's a sibling rivalry that goes back centuries. So, what exactly are the differences between the two? Today, we're going to take a look at how the longest unprotected border in the world has defined North America. I'm Mike with List 25, and these are 25 funny differences between Canadians and Americans.
Ignore the
25.
dancing.
Canadians tend to trust authority, whereas Americans are suspicious of it. This goes back to the fact that the Canadians remained loyal to the crown, while America showed King George the door. 24.
Okay. Right off the rip. Now, I wouldn't say that Americans are wary of authority. They are wary of authority that does not correspond to what they believe. Now, this is more so prevalent in the last few years than before, I would say. But if you're conservative and a polytrickster come up and say, I don't believe in abortion, or I don't believe in immigration, they're gonna believe you. And on the flip side, if somebody come up with some liberal ideas, you know what I mean, they're gonna believe you. And I think that's one of the reasons why they end up with the politicians that they do. The politicians are polytricksters that do what is best for them and whoever pay up for their to vote them in and thing. Because it's vote for pay. Let's not be naive about the situation. You know what I mean? And on a day-to-day basis of talking to some people, I could I could tell you, because I would talk to some people, and I talk to a lot of them as my day go through and thing at work, and if you say something that they actually believe in, whether it be a misguided belief or anything like that, okay. Let's just break it down. I'm not the open mouth to argue with anybody on anything that's political. I'm not. If we're having a discussion, we're having a discussion. Now, the fact that I'm black and immigrant and I don't always go, it's because I'm black, this is happening to me. Or, Black Lives Matter and all of that. They automatically assume that I'm on their side. So then people just, they toss me respect, though it's misguided respect. Well, he's not a troublemaker, he's not a rival, he's a good boy. And the proof of that is like, okay, I'll give you an example. I was raised to be a good person. You help people regardless of their beliefs, regardless of their color, regardless of their sexual preference. If a human is a human, then you take care of that human. That's how I was raised, you know what I mean? But I have people, if I do something that is perceived as good, I'd always have people say, oh, it's great to meet a good Christian man. It's like, normally I don't say anything, but then I say, I'm not Christian, and then they go, whatever. And then the attitudes toward me after that change. So it's the same type of way with how they look at authority. No, let me think of a polytrickster that they like, but then they just change the way they think, or they say something that seems to sort of agree with the other side, and they change on them. I'm trying to think of a politician, but there's several examples. I just can't get it off the top of my head. John McCain as a simple example. You know what I mean? They didn't like him because when he went up against Obama, he was supposed to come out and say, why not this, that, and he's supposed to go off on things, but he wouldn't. He said, hey, stop. He's not Muslim. He's a Christian man. He's an American man. Oh, that John McCain, he ain't nothing. So it's not so much that they don't trust authority. It's just that if that authority isn't saying what they want to hear, then they don't trust them. But if anybody come and polytrick them and say, "Oh yeah, I believe it," and then these same people, Herschel Walker, "Oh, I'm against abortion. I'm against abortion." Come to find out, he had several abortions. Oh, family matters, and then family thing. Come to find out, he had kids that he wasn't taking care of. But they're still going to vote for him because he's saying these things, but he ain't living it. So it's not like they don't trust authority. They just, if you say something and that's what they believe, they gonna vibe up with you. Yeah, they gonna trust you. They gonna trust you. Let's get back to the video. Hey, comment down below if you disagree with me. Comment down below if you disagree with me, because there's like all kinds of examples of that all over the place from the mouth of those polytricksters.
Canadians bond over hockey. Americans bond over football. In general, Canadians also put less emphasis on sports. 23. Canadians spend a lot of time comparing themselves to the US. Americans don't think about Canada very often at all. Actually, almost never. I love you, Ken. And all my Canadian friends. This isn't jest, dear God. 22. Some parts of Canada sell milk in bags. Bagged milk would be highly suspicious in the US. I'd totally drink it.
That goes back to, if it ain't what I'm used to, then whoa, what is that? Why is that way? That's wrong. This is the way you do it.
Milk's great. Best beverage. No, absolutely.
No, milk is fantastic.
Milk is the best beverage in the world.
Yes, it is. And it comes in chocolate.
Yeah. I actually don't like chocolate as much.
That's weird.
I prefer white. I can do it. I prefer. Oh.
Yeah.
21. The U.S. sees itself as a melting pot. That was a good restaurant. While Canada sees itself as a mosaic. The difference is very slight, but basically in the U.S., there's more mixing and blending between immigrant cultures, while in Canada, immigrants tend to keep more of their language and traditions rather than mix with others. 20. Canadians have more of a tall poppy syndrome, which is a tendency to distrust or discredit anyone who stands out in a prominent position or wealth. In this sense, Canada is a lot more like Europe. Conformity is more encouraged in Canada than in the US. If America does well at anything, it's encouraging innovation and non-conformity. 19.
How long ago was this video made? Oh, 5 years ago. They need to do a revamp of this virus. They need to do a revamp of this video here, because the thinking have changed drastically, because they believe in they don't believe in conformity. Maybe it depends on where you go here. Maybe in the bigger cities, maybe. I wonder where he's from, or whoever wrote this, where they're from. Maybe in the bigger cities and stuff, but the bigger cities don't make up the actual thinking of vibe, you know what I mean? To a certain degree it does, on to certain things it does, but let's get going with this here. That's funny.
Canadians love their flag, but Americans seem to love their flag more. Seriously, nobody beats America at flags. You can't beat Canadians at maple syrup, though.
No.
18. Canadians put more emphasis on higher education. Actually, Canada puts more emphasis on it than any other country in the world. It leads the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, with 53% of the population having a college education. The OECD average is 32%. 17.
See, the emphasis on education is more prevalent out there than it is here. Ooh, I'm gonna get some vibe from this from Americans. But listen, being 7 foot tall, I could tell you this for a fact. Being 7 foot tall, people would ask me if I played basketball. And if I say no, oh, you waste your gift, your God-given gift, you waste it. But I usually follow up with this, well, I have degrees. I got my education, even though I didn't play basketball to get it. I still have my education. They will stop talking to me and turn away when I say that. They don't want to hear that. And I'm not saying that, I'm not generalizing per se. I'm just saying from my experience. Like I'd be at work and man, you could just touch the rim. You know what I mean? And to be honest, I did play college basketball. Granted, it was just 2 semesters, and I was like, I don't know about this, because if I get hurt, are they gonna keep paying for my education? I didn't know it at the time, so I was like, get out of here and do this on my own. But if I say that I got an education and I didn't play football or I didn't play basketball, they lose interest in talking to me, or they give me this look like, oh, you're uppity. I get it all the time, and I have witnesses to this. I'm not just saying this, because even some of my coworkers go, wow, they just ignored you after you say you don't want to play, you never played basketball. And I tell them that I don't play basketball for that very reason. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't really watch sports. Sometimes I do, like the Super Bowl came and go, and I didn't even watch that. I don't know what was going on. I just don't, you know what I mean? I would rather watch some YouTube videos on history or culture or something rather than sit and watch a football game. Now, I watch football with my buddy Scott Hall. He loves football, but Scott is kind of balanced. He's from Virginia. He was born here, and he's balanced, so he could talk about anything. So I don't mind talking sports with Scott because I know that's not what we're going to talk about every time we sit down. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the emphasis is on how you're gonna make the money. Man, if you could drop out of college the first year and go to the NBA and make all that money, that's what seems to be the leading idea, other than get that education and then go and play basketball.
Canadians generally approve of their government. Americans hate and distrust theirs. This boils down to the fact that the Canadians see government as a good thing, while Americans see it as a necessary evil.
That goes back to the point I was making from the first number 25. They distrust you if you don't tell them what they want to hear. And that's a generalization, but it's a generalization of where I live right now. They distrust you if you don't tell them what they want to hear. If you beat around the bush and don't tell them definitively this is what you believe and I believe the same thing, then they don't trust you. And I guess that's general, but it's like it's on steroids here. And it's not for stuff like let's fix the infrastructure or let's make schools better. It's on stuff like, oh, we don't want those immigrants here, or oh, these blacks want all the rights and we don't get none. It's stuff like that. When in reality, black, white, immigrant, whatever, just wannabes for the rich, man. That's what it is. And they love their rich. They could say what they want. They love their rich. A polytrickster would come into the grocery store and everybody's like, well, not everybody, but a lot of them. Oh, see him in here? And I'm like, yeah, it's a polytrickster. So what?
16. Americans are more individualistic. This goes back to the Wild West mentality. The very word Canada, on the other hand, is derived from a local Iroquoian word for village. Canadians are more communally minded. 15.
Okay, I have a friend who wants to go to Grenada. And she's been watching videos about Grenada, you know what I mean? That's where I'm from. And she said, oh my God, look at all those people are together. You know what I mean? Look at that. And I'll tell you what. I had put up a post on Facebook and I talk about how nobody seems to want to respect anybody. And then the response I get is, well, you gotta self-respect and self-love and self-this and self-that. But you could do all of that. That's cool. But when you step out into society, if we don't respect each other, there's going to be chaos. And the response I get, well, there's always been chaos. Yeah. because nobody really respects anybody. They respect themselves too much to respect anybody else. And even though they think they're respecting others, their self-respect seems to be more important than respecting other people. Of course, again, they're going to respect you if you think like them. But if you don't, look out, boy. And again, I'm not saying this from a whole. I'm telling from where exactly I live, and I'm watching a lot of the. I don't watch news, per se, but just the types of videos that they watch, and you know what I mean. And like my friend is so baffled about the community that she sees when she watches the videos from back home. Man, look at all those people, all they so together, and they always laughing and talking, and they're always doing this and doing that. And he's right. There's more community elsewhere. Of course, on a small island, and we're not exactly rich, if we don't have that community mentality, how are we gonna be up the creek? Because we need each other. And on a small scale like that, should influence on a bigger scale, because on a bigger scale, though you have everything or most things that you want, if there's no community, it's going to be dog eat dog. It's going to be dog eat dog.
Canada's right wing is America's left wing. In the political sense, Canadian politics tend to be more liberal. This doesn't mean that Canada doesn't have conservative politics. It certainly does. The political system is a lot less polarized, however, and doesn't pull to the extremes as much. It has 5 primary political parties. 14. Both Americans and Canadians think they're more free. In Canada, this is due to more progressive policies. In the US, it's due to lack of government policies. 13. Americans are more confrontational. Not necessarily in a bad way, but Canadians are more likely to just hold everything in and let it stew. Or apologize.
Come on, bruh. I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's called picking your battles. The things that really matter that's going to affect everybody, I'm assuming that's the way it is in Canada, because I know that's the way it is on an island. You pick your battles. And because I'm a lot like that, I pick my battles, like certain things people do or say, and somebody will say, that's disrespectful. Oh man, you shouldn't take that. Rah, rah, rah. And I'm like, I don't know this person. I'll probably never see them again. Why am I getting all worked up now and spoiling my day just because somebody do something that I think, and it's because of image is everything, right? So what everybody else think of you is going to dictate how you react to stuff, which sort of counters the individualistic thing, but then also fits in because you're thinking, well, I'm going to look this way. Like for me, somebody say something disrespectful to me, like I've been called the N-word before, and I laugh, and the boy's like, man, yeah, I can't believe you. It's like, well, what am I getting angry for? Especially since the person who said that word is just like me. They have no power. They have no power. Now, if somebody in power does that, then yeah, I'll say something because they have the power to dictate how my life's going to go economically or socially or something like that. But if it's just some other person that's like me, working paycheck to paycheck, they don't have no power. So why am I going to make myself miserable arguing with them because they say something stupid? Like the other... Like the other day, we were talking about I saw early in the morning on YouTube that Rihanna sang at the Super Bowl, and one guy was like, "Yeah, man, she's beautiful," and the kid says, "Well, that's because she's beautiful for a black woman," which I know some people would go off on that. I just like laugh, and I was like, man, why am I going to be mad at him? He could do what he wants. He's going to learn one day that, he shouldn't say stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be mad at him. You can say what you want. It doesn't affect me. He doesn't have any power.
12. Canadians pretend Canada has no problems. America pretends the US just has quirks. 11. Canadians don't get to experience the joys of Pandora and Spotify due to licensing restrictions. 10. Although Canadians do feel quite a bit of...
Wait, y'all don't have Spotify? That's where my podcast is on. Oh, y'all gonna watch my podcast? Y'all ought to check it out. It's called Mr. Giant. No. I'm sorry. It's called Papa Jumbie's Dark Island Tales. You all should go check that out. You know, it's storytelling, and I'm reading all storytelling from a book I wrote 11 years ago. Y'all on Spotify? Don't worry, it's on all the platforms, and I am launching a new channel with just that on there. Let's get back to this.
of connection with their province/city, Americans identify much more with their state than they do with the country as a whole, except for Quebec, Canada's Texas. 9. Canadians talk about the War of 1812 a lot. Americans aren't quite sure what that is. Boston Tea Party, anyone? 8. Canadians are more passive-aggressive. A good example of this would be tribalism and all of its derivatives. While it's more overt in the US, that doesn't mean it's any less in Canada. It just comes out in a more backhanded fashion. 7. Canadians brag about how cold it is, while Americans brag about how warm it is. Unless you live in Minnesota, then you're basically Canadian. 6. Americans are much more polarized on almost everything. But then again, there are more people in just California than all of Canada, so it makes sense that Canadians would be more unified. 5. In the US, talking about American politics is taboo, but in Canada, talking about American politics is a national pastime. 4. Canadians are more likely to take off their shoes in the house. Of course, this depends on location, but in many parts of the US, walking with shoes in the house is acceptable. Maybe it's the cowboy influence. 3. Canadians think Canada is completely different from the US. Americans, on the other hand, don't notice much of a difference between the two countries. As a note, from a European perspective, any differences will seem a bit overstated. 2. Americans have it easier when it comes to shopping online. In Canada, many stores don't offer online shopping, and many of them don't even have a website to begin with. 1. Canada has 2 official languages on a national level, English and French. Americans have no official language on a national level. Each state decides whether or not to adopt English as an official language.
I did not know that.
Tristan, we should go to Canada one day.
I'd love to.
Let's do it. You want to go now? Sure. We got some hockey to watch. Actually, by the time this video comes out, I think the Stanley Cup playoffs will be over.
Copy anyways.
Go Preds! What? No, we're gonna go watch hockey. Let's go.
Okay, now that was quite interesting there. You know, comment down below. Tell me what you all think of this list here. You know, if there's any kind of a differences, let me know. Now, we can talk about differences. It's cool to be different. As long as your difference doesn't adversely affect everybody in the community. As long as we also realize that we're human, we come from different cultures, we're going to see things differently, and if we see things differently, once again, if it doesn't adversely affect the human race, if it's not hurting anybody, why is it a problem? Why does everybody have to make everybody think like them? We should just enjoy each other's differences. Treat it like a learning experience. You know what I'm saying and thing? Anyway, you all take care of each other, alright? I'm going to leave a link in the bottom to this video. And please, please, please comment down below and tell me what you all think about it. I know I have a lot of my Canadian peeps and stuff who are watching this here. You all comment down below, let me know. Don't stop watching though. I'll put up links to videos that you all could go in there and check it out and see what I man think about it and thing, alright? Have a good day, man. Cool runnings.